Where are you going? I hit the recording there. I hit record and you're walking away. You guys get to check out his sexy booty.
I can't think of a single soul. Maybe my wife might say that, but I can't think of a single soul that's ever said that about my
I
butt.
said it. You heard it. You can't unhear it.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah,
That's not good. Yeah. So I think it's interesting.
If I can't slut shame you, I'm just going to
this,
sexually harass you. Is that?
This really cool. And by the way,
Don't do this. This is flash forward. We are not doing the last round.
on the video.
No.
You don't want to show
No.
people the
Purity.
awesome-
Put it down. No. I resisted this. I resisted flash forward.
And you shouldn't have, because it was.
And I
awesome.
shouldn't have, because it was really good.
I told you at the very beginning it was good, and you're like, nah, man, Wally West. I rarely get to do
You know
that.
what he
but when I
doesn't
do,
have?
it's awesome.
He doesn't have a scarf.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need a scarf. Never figure out why his hair out. Never understood that.
With great hair comes great.
I mean, really, it must be epic hair. I mean, you figure at some point the Speed Force would go, oh, and
I mean, he literally, like, his hair's wavy like mine is when it's longer. If he ran...
Yeah, pictures of yours with long hair. That's funny. That's like one of those things like, what the hell happened to your head? It's like this mop on top of your head.
Oh, that don't.
Did
say
you put
that.
a bun?
Don't say that. I had a boss, and I'm not going to say which one, who I literally wanted to beat the shit out of because he called me mop when my hair was long. Ooh. That's rude as hell.
It is very rude. It's still funny though, because it's like, dude, man, I've only seen pictures of you like that. I can't imagine you with heavy, thick hair.
Oh yeah, all my.
When the apocalypse happens and there's no electricity and
you'll see it.
Run out of barber. I can't see it now.
I mean, it was pretty long when the COVID thing was going on. So.
Is your version long and everyone else's are different? I still think you should have done a pompadour. I'm saying Elvis would have been proud. Could have done the whole.
You know, if you hadn't called it a pompadour, I probably wouldn't have got my hair.
That's exactly what you said the first time.
You were like, that's a nice pompadour, and I'm like,
mother, don't shave it.
Fine, I'll wear a mask and get a haircut, you son of a bitch.
Don't let Karen ever be right. Yep, exactly. Okay, that's where we're going. All right, cool.
Hi guys, I'm Barry.
And I'm Garvin.
What? You're not going to go with Wally?
No. Bart. I'm Bart.
You done fucked it up now. Yeah. Never mind. Hi, I'm David.
I can be Jay.
No, you can't.
I'm older than that. I'm older, so I can be.
I was going to do a flash thing. I didn't. I should have printed.
Proof, if you said,
proof,
we're going to do a flash thing. Follow my lead.
No,
you've done that.
I figured you would have just done it. Like proof that we don't script anything, guys.
Yeah, and when we do, it's weird.
Yeah,
because you did that stupid thing with Richard, and it was
actually it wasn't weird. I thought it was really good.
It was good, but it was like I could tell you scripted it.
Yeah,
I'm just not. It's like you're very serious, and I'm like,
I couldn't have done that with you there, bro.
I could have expected some goofiness. I just didn't get any goofiness out of it.
I could not do any of that. So I don't. Honestly, the goofy is out. What you're seeing on our podcast is us interacting. So anyway, I'm David.
I'm Karen.
You were going to be Wally. I was going to let you be Wally. And then we were going to roll.
So I'm the fastest man alive, really?
Of course you are.
What? Oh, really?
So in the comic I'm writing, you are.
Oh, okay, I got that.
Right.
So, wait, why am I? No, we're getting it right.
Clearly you've never seen Sky High.
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have.
The ridiculousness that is Sky High.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Zoom was better.
Kurt Russell.
Zoom was better. Kurt Russell is phenomenal, but Zoom.
Kurt Russell and Kelly Preston, who recently died of breast cancer.
Very sad to me.
I love Kelly Preston.
Her husband's. I'm not the biggest fan of her husband, but I mean he's creepy. But saw them and
this whole Scientology.
They used to go to the Greenbrier Resort a lot. I saw them actually more than once out, kind of in town in Lewisburg a couple times. It was like, and of course you didn't dare approach him.
I would have.
No, it's only Tom Cruise is the one we had 2x4 ready for. It said Tom Cruise's beating stick. So
did you really?
Yeah, so that was a thing. Anyways,
how would you swing it? Poor little man.
He was
because you're
supposedly
you're prepared for like Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise would have showed up, and you would have been like, "I've got a beating stick."
He's not Lilliputian. I mean, he's not that small.
He's pretty small.
So
he's Kevin Hart small.
Wow, that's pretty small. Okay.
That's why he'll never be in a movie with The Rock. I salute Kevin Hart because Kevin Hart's like, I'm 5 foot flat. Fuck you, I'm good.
When he stayed at the Greenbrier, because they stayed in these houses up there, and there was rumors about him being really rude to the staff, and it was because I had lots of friends and customers who were staff there at the Greenbrier when I had my store there, so it was always a thing. They were like, I wish I could beat the crap out of him.
So the funny thing, the joke to me continues to be, it's like, I'd like to slap around Rob Liefeld, but would it be more entertaining if all 6'4" me got the crap beat him by Rob Liefeld. Like, that would almost be better. I go up and like start bullying Rob at a convention, and he just whah! And just beats the shit out of me. I'm like, it would be great. The same thing from Tom Cruise. Like, you want Tom Cruise to like run up my chest and like sit on my shoulders and beat me in the face a bunch of times. Like, it would be great.
So, with his dick in your face. So, is there a reason for this podcast we're talking about today?
I've lost it at this point.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to start over.
Off the rails, and we're done. So,
if anyone's still listening, we're here to talk about DC's mini event. They kind of threw it in there. It wasn't really an event. It was like a follow up to Heroes in Crisis.
It was an event to trigger more events that didn't trigger those events.
Correct. Well, it did trigger one.
It triggered one, but we'll talk about that.
So, if you're reading Dark Knight's Death Metal,
right,
you will find a blue-suited Wally West with the Dr. Manhattan sigil in his forehead. If you want to know how that happened, do yourself a favor and pick up
Flash Forward.
I grabbed the trade paperback. I really tried to find it locally. I couldn't. I ended up getting it on Amazon. It's really cool.
You have those single issues, don't you?
Yes.
But you want the graphic novel
because it looks wonderful on my shelf, and if I want to be rough with my copy,
you can.
If I wanted to
be gentle, it's paper. We can be gentle with my. All right. So
you're not my boss. You don't tell me what to do.
So Wally in Heroes in Crisis killed how many?
By accident.
It was
12,
accident. Yes.
12 heroes.
And then himself, but it really wasn't himself because he went back in time. Anyway. Still makes my brain hurt a little bit.
So,
and then he framed Booster Gold and Harley Quinn.
Which is brilliant.
I mean, they're the only ones left alive inside the building.
Actually, that's the part of that I have the most problem with. You know, we reviewed Heroes in Crisis. Please see our podcast or our YouTube channel if you want to hear about Heroes in Crisis and didn't. But that's the problem that I have with Heroes in Crisis is that's so very far out of character for Wally West to have framed Booster and Harley. Maybe framing Harley, because she's kind of a villain. But, you know, do you frame Booster just because he's an ass? I mean, like...
Yeah, Booster's kind of a... He's not so much an ass, he's just dumb. And it's like, he's someone who wasn't prepared to be the hero that he is. He was a janitor, for crying out loud. That's all he was. He stole the flight ring, he stole Rip Hunter's time ship. I mean, that's what he did in the 25th century. That's why he is here. But he has ingratiated himself. I mean, the Justice League cartoon was saying, "Hey, look, it's Green Lantern. No, I'm Booster Gold. I'm not even green." Yeah,
that was a great episode.
So honestly, I mean, we had fantastic character development, especially in Heroes in Crisis. So flash forward, and
Wally's in jail.
Wally's voluntarily in prison.
He can't go to Iron Heights because it was recently destroyed in issues of The Flash by Trickster and Turtle.
Right.
And so he's at Blackgate.
Right. The worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And Godspeed is there, and... Is Godspeed dead now?
Godspeed wasn't there.
I thought Godspeed was there.
Well, Godspeed's dead in the current continuity. August was killed by...
That's right.
Zoom. Like, you just added something to this, had nothing to do with
Sorry.
it.
Anyway.
Well, I tell you who is there. Girder and Tar Pit.
Yeah. And of course, he put him there.
and they bribed the guards to take their power-inhibiting collars off. Wally still has his on, and they're beating the tar out of him. And he wants to just lay down and let them kill him.
And so then Tempest appears.
Tempest Fusionaut.
Yeah. Tempest Fusionaut. He's kind of like a watcher in a lot of ways. He can see everything that's happening. He's not supposed to do anything about it, but he realizes that there's something that has to be fixed, and he says, "Listen, Wally, you're the fastest man alive. You got to fix this." And Flash is like, "Nope." He's like, "Too bad." Puts the suit back on him, yanks him out.
Well, Girder and Tar Pit accidentally break his inhibitor collar, and he fights back.
Right.
And then when he's beat him, Tempest Fusionaut does exactly what you just said.
Right.
And he races off into the multiverse. The Dark Multiverse.
The Dark Multiverse. Let's be specific. Not the regular multiverse, the Dark Multiverse.
So the first Earth he ends up on is...
2. Or is it 8?
It's 8.
It's 8.
But it's the one with President Superman.
That's
Val Zod.
That's Earth 2.
I think it's 2 now.
Well, it was 2 then, because that...
Maybe Earth 8's the Vampire Earth.
No, that's not there. That's not there.
Please see Grant Morrison's Multiversity Handbook if you want to know which Earth is which.
Earth 8 is the parody of the Avengers.
Well, that's in there too.
That's Earth 8.
So,
yeah,
we're spoiling a little bit, but that's okay. This is a spoiling thing. So, he goes to Valzad's Earth, and he fights what appears to be their Justice League.
Right. So here's.
But he's doing it because Valzad had been corrupted
Right.
and depowered a little bit by dark multiverse energy.
And so what's happened is.
And he zaps him with a baton.
Well, what's happened is Tempest has given him this rod and said, listen, you have to.
When Tempest gives you the shaft.
What he said is, listen, you have to go collect all the dark energy that's been expunged and collect it. And once it's done, we can destroy it.
Right.
There's a reason for this we find out much later on. We'll talk about it in a minute. But so yeah, he has to go to all these Earths, and go and basically find this dark energy, absorb it. Now, typically, most people, they're like, hey, the dark energy's there. Please take it.
Not one Earth did that.
But no.
Not one
But
Earth
you would
did.
think that they would have.
He fights the Justice League. They figure out that he's there to help. He rescues their president, Superman.
And then, of course, he then moves on to the next Earth.
Which then is the Earth with Linda Park as Godspeed.
Right. That's the alt Earth.
Little emotional moment as she, while they're speeding through the Speed Force, sees flashes of their life together, and she's like, I can never be your wife, but here's some tongue, and she helps him knock the multiversal energy off of that Earth.
Right.
Then he goes
to the Vampire Earth.
He goes to the Vampire Earth.
Whereas Vampire Batman and Vampire Flash.
Yeah.
It's Vampire Barry or Vampire Wally?
It was Vampire Barry.
Yeah.
Because he's all happy to see him. He's like, Barry! And Barry's like, food!
Yeah.
And Roy Harper,
who is still a good guy at this point.
Yeah, who is a vampire killer.
Yeah, who is his best friend in the entire multiverse, who is dead.
And then they go after Bruce, who became a vampire to stop Dracula.
Right.
And
this is the Blood Rain.
Wally vibrates Bruce into a nuclear reactor, because you do.
I kept thinking, as I'm reading this book, and I think I was really excited. I'm like, they're going to bring Roy Harper back. I think I said this to you, and you're like, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
And they didn't. So I finished reading, I'm like, aw. But I kept thinking, bring Roy Harper back to the main universe. Let him live. Let him bring it back to the main universe.
Did they do another Earth? Was there one more? I'm doing this from memory.
There's a planetoid. It's kind of an Earth, but it's a planetoid.
That's where he ends up next. He ends up on a planetoid, and he finds his children.
Right. His actual children.
Jay and
they're really his children. They're not an imagination. It's Jay and Iris, exactly. And they're his kids.
Yeah.
They literally have been stuck there, and they've been fighting off this dark multiverse using their powers. Because remember, they're Flashes as well. They're part of that Speed Force as well. This is when you find out he did this. He put them there.
His greatest fear was realized before Flashpoint.
Right.
His greatest fear was realized when he woke up and this dark energy took his children.
Right.
And in that fear, he created this place.
A led to B, led to C, led to D.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why he was trapped in the Speed Force, is because he succumbed to his worst fear.
Right.
And so he has to try to knock back the darkness there, but every time he tries, he fails. And Tempest Fusionaut finally just shows up and he's like, "You're an idiot. You did this.
You did all this.
If you'll stop being scared."
Well, and it wasn't. So yes, he was an idiot, but the reality is Tempest also didn't want to tell him he was the cause of all this.
Well, it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked, exactly.
Basically, this is a 6-issue therapy session.
Yeah.
To make Wally realize that Wally is living in fear.
Right.
And so he said, "Well, how do I defeat it?" He said, "Well, you're not going to like this part. So here's the Mobius chair, and every mortal that sits in this becomes a slave to it, and you're going to die. Because Owlman, because Batman, because all this stuff." And Wally's like, "Okay, I'll do it on the condition
I get to save my family.
you take my children back to the reality and put them with Linda."
So, and Linda, who doesn't even know she's had kids because everything's been wiped, she sees the kids.
She's washing dishes. I love it. Like, she's standing like washing a dish
Yeah.
in this house that she used to share with Barry and the kids. Like, I want to know how she one day was like, "Wow, I have 4 bedrooms and it's just me living here. Seems a bit much. Maybe I should die." It'd be hilarious if she'd been in an apartment. And she's like, "No, my house across town. I'll never get my equity back."
So Jay and Iris appear, and she immediately knows who they are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happens with Jay Garrick and Flash. Jay immediately knows who Wally is. It's like,
Well, and she wants to know where Wally is now.
yeah,
Where's my husband?
where's Wally?
The whole reason Wally was broken and Heroes in Crisis happened
Because of this.
is undone. And then Wally's in the chair. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is the thing I didn't understand, is how Wally ended up with Manhattan's powers.
The chair.
So, at the end of the Dark Side Justice League War, you see the chair sitting on the moon, and there's a whiff of ozone. Manhattan wished Metron out of existence. He zapped him. He zapped him like he zapped Rorschach.
So essentially, he planned this.
Yeah.
So essentially, Manhattan saw what was coming, and said, "Okay, that's fine. We're gonna make sure you're ready for it."
Yep.
So what's interesting too, and most people, the people who are comic book fans who have been doing this for a long time, have been paying attention to Free Comic Book Day. Should have happened first weekend in May. Didn't happen this year because of COVID. DC had a really important book they were producing. In fact, we would have had that book if COVID had not happened. They might have regretted it because things were going to change. They were going to give us the early parts of 5G. In this graphic novel, at the end of the graphic novel, essentially...
And it's very seamless if you've never read it, because I read it, and it's basically what Wally is doing with the chair, and it's flashing through all of the flashing through all the realities.
This is where the comic ends.
Yeah.
Right here, this panel, the last ending. But there's 5 more pages after that, and that is of the Free Comic Book Day edition, where they start going through the multiverse and showing you things that have happened, could happen, will happen. This is all part of 5G.
And it explains here that the reason he got Manhattan's powers is not that they were stolen from Manhattan. Manhattan touched the chair, and the chair came to understand the essence of Manhattan, because it understands everything. When Wally sat down in it with his fast mind, he was able to deal with the knowledge of everything, and basically the chair gave him Dr. Manhattan's powers.
Yep.
And we know in Dark Knight's Death Metal that he's managed to get out of the chair.
Well, the chair has allowed him out. That's the thing. I think what's happened is
I think
because
the
of
chair's
his...
in his butt.
I think it's a unique physiology he has because he's with the Speed Force. Literally, he talked to the chair, and the chair said, "Fine, you have something you have to do. I'll be there when you're ready." And I guarantee the chair is following him in an extra dimensional path, and is just following him. So basically,
in the Speed Force, just
yeah, it's just following him. So when he'll go, the chair will appear, and literally they can be reconnected. So Flash Forward was a great story. It actually made me cry. Seeing his kids actually made me cry because it's like, oh my God, it's like they've been gone for years.
I expect there will be a scene where Wally he'll Rorschach the Joker Who Laughs out of existence, and then that plume of smoke will re-solidify back into...
You think everything will just reset itself to where it was?
Because he has Manhattan's
You think it'll
powers,
reset it back to where it was pre-metal? Like metal never happened at all?
No, I think metal will have happened. I don't know what the end of metal's going to be, but I can tell you that Wally is no longer a broken man, and Wally has the steel now to protect his family.
Right. So is this happening before or after Death Metal?
Before.
Before Death Metal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in Death Metal he already has the blue suit. He already has.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to rephrase my question. Is
Before, after Metal?
Joker War happening before or after this?
I have no idea.
I wonder.
I have no idea.
I
It's
wonder.
one of those messy DC continuity that leads to us doing episodes like this.
So, if you are any fan of DC at all, if you've been following DC stuff and you didn't get this for whatever reason, your shop didn't carry it, or you're like, Wally West is boring,
I don't like Wally West.
I recommend you pick this book up. It was excellent. And a lot of places probably still have the single issues. And then we have all probably
Well,
single
the first issue is pretty valuable now.
Yeah, the first issue I think has gone up to about $30 now because of something like this.
Yeah.
So it's a first appearance thing. Actually, 6 is the first appearance, I think. It's the first time you see him as so maybe that's the more. I gotta look it up, but it's pretty great. We've had a lot. I remember I talked about this every week, and you're like, man.
Meh.
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 Well, part of the reason it changed was because I have kind of fallen in love with us mapping out DC continuity. Speaking of which, we have talked about some things that we're going to do deep dives on. They're going to be a little less in continuity, but still a deep dive. If you guys have ideas for us, hit us up. Come to our discussion group. Let's Talk Comics on Facebook. What's our Twitter?
Twitter is still Printed Panel at Printed Panel Podcast.
What's our Facebook?
Printed Panel at the Printed Panel Podcast. It's the Printed Panel Podcast on Facebook.
Okay.
And we're of course on online. We have our own webpage, and by the way, the webpage will be completely updated hopefully in about 2 weeks. So I'm working right now on taking the old stuff down, putting all the new stuff up. Because basically, when David and I took over, and Richard graciously kind of stepped down, David and I took back over the podcast, and things started to shift a little bit. We're going to keep those that Richard and I did as an archive, so you can go pick them up. But we'll make sure there's a new one out every week on the actual homepage as well. That way you can pick it up.
Interesting enough, it's always updated at my website, davidhasissues.com.
And it's actually pretty much always updated on Facebook as well. We try to make sure it's up there too. So
yeah, we're putting more work into it.
Yeah, we're having fun.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.
Hey, by the way, if you're still watching, as David walks around to turn this off, please like and share our Facebook page, but please tell people about our YouTube page. We try to be positive and have a lot of fun doing this. Share it. Tell your friends. I'm sure you've got other buddies out there that read comic books, and they'd love to hear about this stuff. So.
And remember, every time that you hate on Rob Liefeld, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah, every time.